I don't know that it's relationship driven like it once was at the scholarship level or the Division I level, and at the small school level. I still feel very strongly that it's relationship driven, and I think our guys would say the same thing.
Fans at J.J. Keller Stadium ready to see an Oshkosh win and celebrate it. Welcome to the WIAC, ladies and gentlemen.
J.J. Keller is rocking right now.
Hello, welcome to Titan Stadium. I'm Kobe Manzo with D1 Rejects here with a voice that a lot of people know in the D3 football community, Coach. Excited to have you here, a former Beaver and Blue Boy at respective playing institutions. You threw for over 6,060 touchdowns. I think that probably should be talked about more when we talk about Coach here at this spot. But Coach Peter Jennings, I'm very pumped to have you here and really appreciate you having me out, man.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you here, Kobe. I think it's really cool that you're taking time out of your day, out of your summer, out of your busy work schedule, right? You just moved, and for you to come up here and check out Titan Stadium campus, and it's just awesome to have this opportunity. So I really humbly say thank you.
You're the man. I got sick of Zoom calls. That's what I told you, and you're like, well, what are we going to talk about? And it's everything that we always do, but we get to be here in person, which is sweet. And talk about busy schedule. You're balancing baseball, soccer, basketball tournaments right now. We're getting updates right now about these games being played, by your kids right now. And you talked to me about how important that was in establishing balance in a profession that's oftentimes very absent in a lot of coaching staffs and a lot of rooms, especially at this level, being the head coach of a college football program. How important has that been to you, and what have you learned through that process?
Well, for me, it's very important, and it's very important that I give my staff the ability to be family first people, to go and pursue the things outside of football that excite them, whether it's music or art or whatever it may be. I want our staff to feel very comfortable coming to me and asking for a day off in the off season or an afternoon off, or can I skip out of this event or that event because this is something I'm really passionate about. For me, that's my kids, right? Yeah. We've got a young staff in some areas, so there's not a ton of kids running around. But when there are, I want those kids at practice, and I want our staff. If we don't have a game, I want them to be available for their families. And I'm lucky that I've got a great staff. We've got a large staff. They understand and they're supportive of my kids and my families and what we all have going on. So it's truly it's a great relationship that we all have, and it's a great understanding. But for me, I can't spend all the time that I spend with with the players, with the coaching staff, doing all the things we need to do fall, winter, spring, summer, and not carve out time for my own kids. It wouldn't be right. I couldn't sleep at night. I grew up with two very athletic parents who were with me every step of the way, with my two brothers every step of the way. My dad was our youth coaches all the way up through middle school, and honestly, that's a big reason why I decided I wanted to get into coaching, because I thought he affected my life, obviously, but then a number of other people along the way. And so when I get the opportunity to coach, I love to coach. I love to coach football. I love to coach basketball. I love to coach baseball. Coach, it doesn't matter. Let's make it happen. But it's great to be able to do that with my kids in the off season when the timing works.
And it's very cool. You get to step into those shoes now and do the exact same for them as they go through that process. The other coaches on your staff, like you said, very young staff. Maybe some of them that will be down the road here in the future. How do you ensure they feel they have that same flexibility and that balance? Do you find you have to lead by example with your children and your family, making sure they're around the program to kind of set that standard and example, for kind of a lack of a better term there?
Oh, 100%, right? It's really easy to say you have an open door policy and then aren't receptive to people when they come to you with issues, right? It's really easy to say you're going to be a family first person and then not live that lifestyle. And ultimately, right, this program is my extended family, and every young man, every woman that comes through the doors, all of our staff, they're all an extended piece of my family. And so I do take a lot of pride, and I take a lot of responsibility to try and lead by example, as you said, and show them that you can do both. You can be a great professional. You can be a great college coach. You can be a great student manager and still find time to do the things that you love to do that aren't just on the football field or just in the football offices.
And so you now being a father to two, has that changed the way that you coach and you approach the relationships with your student athletes? And two, do you run your family on a depth chart like the great Bob Green once said that he really liked to do before his wife vetoed it?
I wanted to raise my kids using a depth chart.
Can you imagine that? I wanted that. Pam Green vetoed that idea.
We don't run it on a depth chart. I can say that. I end up at times with my son Ben a little bit more, especially now at this time of year, because I do help coach his travel baseball team. And my daughter's in AAU basketball, and so my wife ends up chasing her. So it's not really a depth chart, but we do get it's man-to-man defense. There's no doubt about that.
Any plans to play zone in the future?
That ship has sailed. I think, Kobe. I tried like hell to get to 3, and my wife was like, "We're good," and ultimately she's gonna have the say in that. But for a number of reasons. But then when it comes to the program, we talk about it in recruiting, truly, right? Like the people that if a parent is entrusting our staff, this university, with their young man, that's a lot of responsibility on us. And I make the comment a lot. There's times where I'm sure parents go to youth sporting events or practice and they feel all the confidence in the world in that coaching staff or that coach that they're going to treat them the right way with respect. They're going to help them grow as a player, as a leader. And then there's times where you go to a youth sporting practice and maybe you're sitting there for the entire hour and a half because you just don't really know what's going to come out of that guy's mouth or that gal's mouth or how they're going to interact with the kids. And that's not here. I hope my 2 kids get the opportunity to play college athletics. I hope they want to do that because I think there's something very, very unique about playing at the collegiate level when it comes to responsibility and teamwork and character building. And when they go to college, if they're playing college athletics, I hope the person that they're playing for genuinely loves them, genuinely cares about them. And I tell the parents in the recruiting process, that's who we're going to be. We're going to celebrate the victories with your children, whether that's acing a test or winning a big game or whatever it may be, and we're going to be there to be the shoulder to lean on or the shoulder to cry on when we don't get it done on the field, when your girlfriend dumps you, when you didn't quite study enough. How can we help you get past that roadblock, whatever it may be? That's how we treat our kids. We look at it as truly a transformational approach, not a transactional relationship. And that's huge for us. You treat people the right way. You treat them like you'd want to be treated. You treat them with respect. You have high standards, and when they meet those standards, you reset those standards even higher and celebrate the victory.
Because when you have a relationship, genuinely have built out a relationship like that, you and the guys on this staff are sometimes the first outreach. When one of those trajectory changing at the time things in life happens, you might be one of the first guys that does that. So building up that base is very important. Now, your base in the WIAC obviously goes way back. We'll talk about, being on that staff at Whitewater. I want to know what your perspective was of this Oshkosh program, because I think everyone inside of this conference has a reputation, the way that they play, the stadium, the environment that they play and compete in. What was that from an outside perspective, and how do you feel like that maybe has either changed or doubled down in your time as the head coach here?
Yeah, when I was at Whitewater, our perspective of Oshkosh was that they were going to be unbelievably well coached, that they were going to schematically be very, very sound, even though at times you might feel like how can they be sound running that defensive structure? Yeah. How can they be sound running that many unbalanced formations offensively? But they were going to be sound. They were going to hit the hell out of you, and it was going to be a black and blue game. There was no doubt about it. And tip of the cap to Coach Cerrone for creating that culture, for creating that environment. Right, Coach Stembrotten, who's still with us, right? Like still one of the best defensive minds in the country. And then Coach Vinay, who's the head coach at Stevens Point. He's got a great knack for attacking defenses, right? Finding weaknesses and exposing not just players but techniques and tendencies, and so they did a great job. Like it was for a very long time, it was basically a 2-team race in this league, and they got us once, we got them twice, right when I was there, and vice versa. I can't there's give and take. Let's just say it there.
That identity you talk about, I'm sure there are parts of that you came in and wanted to double down on and build on some of the good, and I'm sure there were other parts where you wanted to change and bring in some of your own ideals. How do you feel that has evolved and changed in the last couple of years under your tenure?
Well, I definitely wanted to keep the toughness. I wanted to keep the blue collar mentality. I wanted to keep the idea that we're gonna win the northeast side of the state of Wisconsin in recruiting. Yeah. One of the things that I really think we've changed, and for good or for bad, right? Coach Cerrone always wanted to be like the hidden gem, right? Like you get to campus and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a pretty awesome place, right? Where I'm sitting here, I'm like, this is a beautiful town. This is it. We're right on the water. Let's tell everybody the campus is phenomenal. We've got phenomenal facilities, right? Let's bring everybody here and let's make sure everyone knows how special the Fox Valley is, how special Oshkosh is, how special UW-O is, right? And then and really sing it to the world. And that's what we've tried to do with the way we market, the way we brand, some of the changes we made with facilities to really show what we are all about.
Yeah. Which, I mean, a recruit walks into this room, this is exactly how you should be greeted when you come to a school like this that competes in this league. And I know a lot of teams will go year by year with a saying or a slogan that kind of defines that group, that specific team in that year. I don't know if you guys are working on something like that already for this fall, but how do you describe this specific group going into the 2026 season and what you expect from that group?
Well, we do actually. We have a senior mantra that's been going on since 2012. Every year, the seniors get together before spring ball and come up with a saying. So the foundation of the year, and they put together a PowerPoint presentation. Good. They present it to the team, and then that is what we break it down on for the entire calendar year.
Full ownership over
full ownership, and
special.
It's really cool. It's an awesome process. When I first got here, I didn't know how it would actually go, and I've been every year pleasantly surprised with how aligned the vision of the seniors is with the vision of this coaching staff and myself. This year is do your job. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? Absolutely. Like if 11 people are doing their job on every play, we're going to be in great shape. If the program's doing their job all summer, we're going to be in great shape. If the program's doing their job in the classroom, we're going to be in great shape, right? So I'm very proud of that. I love that. I love that we do it. If I could say what we feel like this year, it's hungry. And last year we thought, and for good reason, that we had a shot to be really special. And for half the season, we were pretty damn special. And it just, in this league, you get too many injuries at the wrong positions. The ball doesn't bounce your way. It can turn into a long season. That's kind of what happened last year, right? We, beat River Falls. We're sitting at 3-1, top 10 in the country, and blow a, I think 16 or 19 point lead against Stout in the fourth quarter. And from there, it was just trying to pick up the pieces. And I think we persevered in a good way. Like we were playing a lot of guys at positions that were young, that were probably not quite ready in some areas, but very proud of the senior class from last year and how they continued to fight the entire year. They continued to fight. Ball wasn't bouncing our way. They continued to fight, and I think that shows a lot of character on their part. And I'm very proud of the coaching staff. And so when it comes to this year, I think there's a lot of guys returning that got a lot of reps last year. I think we have some really nice pieces that we brought in. And so I would say that ultimately, I think our guys are hungry. They're ready to rock and roll.
You've made some noise in the portal as of late, which is big time for this crew. And, of course, you and all these coaches try and balance that act with, of course, bringing in, developing, cultivating that freshman class, turning those into 3-4 year type guys at these places. And you mentioned, of course, in this league, all it takes is one wrong bounce, one crazy ending or result that could totally derail a season. That didn't happen for you guys, but of course there's roadblocks along the way. What do you feel, outside of that real tough strength of schedule in the best league of D3 football, that the toughest thing for a top-level contender in the WAC is heading into 2026? You talk geographically, level of play, any other challenges. What do you feel in your eyes is one of the toughest challenges that this program faces?
Well, every year, and I don't know if this is quite the way you're going, but every year scheduling is a problem, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's we're gonna play. Arguably, I don't know the toughest or the second toughest. I don't remember what Logan Hansen had it ranked, right? Shout out Logan Hansen, love that guy.
Yep. Only 4 at home too, correct?
Only 4 at home. But we're gonna play Alma, and Linfield.
Big time.
All top 25 programs, right? Shoot, they might all be top 15 before we even get into the league. We're looking at 8 of the teams on our schedule were ranked last year at some point. Like that's that's SEC, that's Big Ten type stuff. You know what I mean? It might be beyond that. And
it just means more, man.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we have the mentality, right? Like anyone, anywhere, anytime, and that's why we're willing to do it. It's really important to me right now to have a fully Division III schedule, if at all possible, for the MPI purposes. But scheduling's tough, and you'd love to have a game where a true tune-up game, right? And it's just it's not an opportunity. We don't have that opportunity in this league, and that's pretty much across the board. If you look at everybody's strength schedule, it's going to be off the charts.
I believe that, man. And you guys have played a lot of Division II NAI opponents in the past. That's something you're phasing out to favor, I mean, to be honest, the algorithm, right?
Right.
That has to happen.
Well, and you've kind of our hand has kind of been forced. Now, I'll be the first to admit I am on as many calls as I possibly can be, right? JP at the NCAA, Kat, Coach McMartin, like these guys probably want to stop hearing from me, right? Like, because I want to talk about strength of schedule. I want to talk about win-loss record, right? Like, I want to constantly be talking about it because I want to make sure that it does favor the best teams to get into the playoffs. Now, I played at Illinois College. And shout out Midwest Conference. I'm a huge believer that every league in this in Division III should have a playoff representative. I'm not one of those guys that says let's get the best 40 teams. No, everybody should go into the season knowing that if they win their league, they're going to get to the playoffs.
That's powerful stuff.
Yes.
Everyone, and that's what you talk about the NFL level. Everyone starts the year believing they can win the Super Bowl. That's how you keep that belief with these squads. A Midwest Conference is a great example. Man, no matter how this season plays out, if we have the conference title at the end of the year, we're getting a shot. We're getting in the door.
1,000%. So then once you divvy up those 28 or 29 automatic berths, then I do think it matters that the best 11 teams are getting in. And I wasn't a huge fan of going to computer rankings. I think that the eye test matters. I think we all can think for ourselves and find the 11 best. And has MPI worked? I think honestly it probably has in most instances. Like I will admit, now can it always be tweaked? Yeah. Sure. But yeah, we've got to. My focus is full Division III because I don't want to be a 9-game MPI team. I want to be a 10-game MPI team because whether we win or lose that to a non-Division III opponent, it doesn't move the needle. And we want in our league, we've got to protect ourselves because of how hard it is to win this league. Right? That if we don't win it, we have the best shot to continue for our program to continue on in the postseason. One of the things that I'm very strongly an advocate for is a quality loss bonus, right? One of the coolest experiences I've had is going out to Linfield and playing in south of Portland. It was an unbelievable trip. You ask any of our guys, they absolutely loved it.
At a place where almost nobody goes in and wins.
Amen, right? And I don't think had we lost that game, I don't think that should count as it should. Not all losses are created equal. And there's some ideas out there how you can make that work, and I hope we continue to pursue those, right? But in the same sense, Linfield signing up to play a WEAC team, I don't think that they should get knocked for taking a shot. We go down to North Central. I want to play Coach Spencer. I want to play North Central. Yeah. That's a 3-hour trip. That should be a good game, and it was for 2 quarters. Got out of hand a little bit. Thanks. Shout out North Central. But I want that opportunity. I want our guys to have that opportunity. And so if we can find a way to incorporate a quality loss bonus, I think that can really open the doors for a lot more scheduling opportunities. Because there are so many teams in the Midwest that should be playing crossover games against other leagues that sometimes just choose not to, and I don't blame them because it's going to affect their MPI. But if we can find a way that's not the case, then maybe scheduling becomes a little bit less of an issue, and some of these big time games will happen more often, right? Yeah. Wheaton obviously has played us, right? But like getting some of these teams that are going to be competitive games with us to play us or to play this league or to play other leagues, right? To not, I think could be huge. And that's above my pay grade. That's why I get on the phone calls and whine. And all right, Peter, we got to go.
2 big ticket items in college football right now. NIL and portal, right? Start with the NIL. Of course, everyone sees your Arch Mannings. You know, I work at Wisconsin now. I see a lot of the behind the scenes of what goes into these NIL deals, and the figures are astounding. And I think some people struggle and understand there is NIL at D2, at NAIA, at D3, and I've worked and seen athletes that have done that. How do you feel that has trickled down, quote unquote, to this level, and what kind of role and factor has that played, whether it is the recruitment and or retention of the athletes here at Oshkosh?
Yeah, that's loaded.
It's a loaded one. Very a lot of different ways there. Yeah.
First of all, I don't understand how it's sustainable at the higher levels. Because at some point there is a level that the money will run out, right? Like there's the Texas Tech booster was talking after the season. One of the guys that started their NIL charge, and he made a comment like he thought it could be done. They had a window that they thought they could go and win a championship, and he thought they could do it really quickly because of the way the NIL was set up and where the guardrails were. And he said, I didn't realize it was going to be quite this expensive. This guy, billionaire, making that comment. Money. That's like crazy. Didn't realize it was going to be quite that expensive. Well,
private equity in Oshkosh.
Yeah. Not yet. We're looking. If anybody wants to, hey, you know how to find me. But at some point you have to decide if you're going to do facility upgrades, or you're going to do. Are you going to spend money on NIL, right? Or are you going to keep this sport intact? Or are you going to spend money on NIL? And I think at some point it becomes unsustainable because you can't just keep throwing $30 million at student athletes without recouping it some way. The state of Wisconsin, which you want to get me on a tirade here, I'll probably get in trouble here. But state of Wisconsin approves a tax, to raise taxes so that the Badgers can improve their facilities, so their facility money can go to paying athletes. I work for the state. I have a college in the same school system. I have college athletes that could use money. I have facilities that could use upgrades, and my tax dollars are going to a different school. I guess like I said, I'm probably getting in trouble for saying that, but I don't understand how that's logical. I don't understand how how that can be signed off on. It's kind of crazy to me, and to not have any kickback to any of the other, I think GB and Milwaukee got some, right?
Peanuts, right?
But, right, peanuts comparatively speaking, but then the other schools don't get any of that. That's crazy to me, right? When you start talking about NIL at Division II, Division III, there absolutely is. Now, I heard on one of the podcasts, I think it was D3 Football, that there's NIL, or there's programs that have $300,000 of NIL at Division III. I know there's been some people.
I believe that number was over the course of 4 years, which is still very, very impressive and definitely leading the pack, but not the normal.
Right. Yeah. But the idea that that Pete's Garage Bar, shout out Pete's Garage Bar, best burgers in Oshkosh. There you go. Shout out. Maybe I'm gonna get them to get me some NIL for this thing right here. If Pete's,
I'll slap a logo on it somewhere.
There you go. If Pete's Garage Bar wants to give a kid here in town $1,000 or $2,000 in NIL, that's happening places, right?
Yeah,
and that goes a long way. That helps with books, or whatever it may be.
It was intended, right?
Right.
That's when this stuff was started to put together. That's how it was intended to be used and enacted.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, personally, right? Like we will operate within the rules that we're allowed to operate, right? Would I rather Division III said no to NIL? Yeah, probably actually. Yeah. Because there is a purity that Division III offers that does get infringed upon when you start talking about paying athletes. Now, all it will take is, even if Division III decides to do that, which I don't know, I don't think there's any talk of doing that, right? It'd be one lawsuit and it'd be struck down, so it doesn't really matter. But me personally would have loved if that never hit our level.
Yeah.
But it's here, and so we've got to find a way to navigate that reality.
Absolutely. That's what coaches across the country are doing, right? You have to react, and you have to change and adapt or die, right? Because at this point in the game, there are a few out there that have been established for long enough that can get by with maybe doing the bare minimum when it comes to the new changes and regulations and things. The other piece, of course, is the portal. Now, D2 enacted that portal window to very closely mirror. It's the exact same thing as the D1 window, right? The dates and everything are exactly the same. Thoughts on that? How do you feel that should be enacted, if at all, at the Division III level, and what kind of challenges would that pose for you if, say, tomorrow we heard legislation that was coming to D3?
I think that the fewer rule discrepancies from level to level, the better. That's a good point. Ultimately, and I'd say that after just telling you, I wish we didn't get NIL, right? Like, so like talking out of both sides of my mouth.
I wasn't going to say it, but that is a good point.
But it's just there's just so much confusion, right? Kids get poor information so much.
Correct. And
so then you're constantly either trying to correct them or help them learn or teach them, where the process could be a lot smoother if we're all kind of on the same calendar. I will say that us not being on having a transfer portal window does allow for more flexibility, right? And so now, there are going to be Division II guys that are going to decide to transfer and aren't going to be able to go to another scholarship school. And so, they're talented enough that they meet our standard as a person, as an athlete, and as a student. Maybe that their loss is our gain, right?
That's what I assume from an outside perspective, is that guys in your shoes should be able to have a net benefit from this, because the amount of bad information that is circling out there from people who are not associated with coaching staffs, telling and being in guys' ear, promising them different things, and then when that's not a reality, well, who should benefit from that? It should be guys in your shoes, and obviously that's hopefully a nice thing. And, of course, you talk about those two big-ticket items, the integrity of college football as an entire entity right now. Under the NCAA window, the NAIA kind of has their own thing going, but they're very much lumped in with this in different ways. The integrity has come under fire and has come under question. For you, at the small school level, what are the tangible things outside of the dollar amounts associated with scholarship and funding that make small school football great and that separate it as a product?
Well, I think that the programs that are doing it right are creating an overarching experience that holistically fits with what a student athlete would like to have as a college experience, right? We're gonna, we talk about we're gonna have the same expectations of a Division I program. We're just not gonna pay you, right? Like you're having to pay for it, right? But we are going to treat you in a way, because there's not $10 million on the line, or it's not a TV contract, or it's not this, that, or the other thing. We're able to treat our young men and women with a more personal touch, if you will. Really invest in the student athlete. Really help guide them through their 4 or 5 years here. I think the relationships that you can build at the small school level are phenomenal, and I think that's probably, and I'm overgeneralizing, but just from my friends that I have at the Division I level and the people that I know, right? I don't know that it's relationship driven like it once was at the scholarship level or the Division I level, and at the small school level, I still feel very strongly that it's relationship driven, and I think our guys would say the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I agree. I think there's a lot of people that preach it, and as you get inside more facilities, you start to find out that not everyone walks the walk, right? And that's why it's so neat to actually be here with you and to talk about your coaching journey a little bit more. Not the first time you've been a head coach. You had the interim tag back at Iowa Wesleyan in 2009.
Yep.
But then had the interim baseball tag at Carroll University in 2013.
Yeah.
I believe was the number. How does that come about? What was that experience? What did that entail?
Well, the interim head job at Iowa Wesleyan was really a cool experience. I might have been 25, 24 when that happened, right? Like
that would be me taking on that, which is that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Shoot, had the opportunity to interview for the head job. I was one of the 2 finalists, which was just, as a 24-year-old or 25-year-old, was just, looking back on it, absolutely crazy that they gave me that opportunity. I was lucky enough to stay on after that, right? A lot of times when you interview for a head job, if you don't get it, there's some butting of heads or some animosity, and you're not always maybe welcome back as you might think, right?
The age probably help with the keeping you around factor, of course, not someone who's maybe vetted and been in this profession for decades and decades.
I would assume so, right? It was also, Mount Pleasant, Iowa is very close to where I grew up, so there's some really strong relationship ties at Iowa Wesleyan and then within the community. Lucky enough to work for Ken Anderson. He truly taught me a lot about just kind of marketing your program and branding your program. And we had a really in Iowa Wesleyan standards, a very good next season, and then I was able to get me to Carroll University in Waukesha.
There you go.
Interim baseball was an interesting thing. So
here we go. This is what I'm very curious to hear about, because you'll be coaching baseball today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a very different capacity.
Very different capacity. Yep.
Still the same title.
Well, and here's the deal. This is something I learned about 13U baseball that I didn't know going in. So, we've played. You play on very different fields, right? Yeah. Like this year alone, we've played on 75-foot bases, 80-foot bases, 85-foot bases, and 90-foot bases. So I'm trying to coach third base, and there's a lot of kids that can steal second on 75 and 80-foot bases that should not even be leading off on 90-foot bases, right?
You feel comfortable sharing some signs?
Oh, yeah.
You got an indicator?
All right.
You always went to the earlobe, I think. I don't know if you got a...
So brim of the cap, so I do wear a baseball hat, right? Good. So brim of the cap is the indicator, and then we steal with our legs and bunt with our arm. Bunt with our arms. So if anybody's watching this, if you catch me on third base, it's indicator to leg, indicator to
I hope I'm not
to arm. That just blows it. Yeah.
Are you a full uniform?
No,
coach?
no. Shoot, no. I'd go out there and cut off some Crocs if I could. No. I wear my.
You got to see some of those though on a regular.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. Yesterday was one of them. You know you're in trouble. Like when you go against a 13U baseball coach who's in full uniform, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to get the brakes beat off you, or you're going to whoop their ass, because there's no in between. Nobody that wears a full baseball uniform in 13U goes out there with a mid team. So
biggest difference between coaching now at the 13U level and the interim tag at Carroll.
I don't. There's a lot. Yeah. We're not quite as concerned with all the situations still at the 13U level, right? Like there's so many situations at the college baseball level that you have to be prepared for, that I can honestly say I wasn't prepared for, right? And it took me better part of the season to really get keyed back up into it, right? So we get done with spring break and the baseball team comes back and plays one series, and there had been a lot of rain that spring, 2013, and there's an altercation with the head baseball coach's brother, and that then fed into the head baseball coach not being happy with the AD or vice versa. I don't even fully remember, and done, right? Dunzo. And Carroll at the time, well, it's a private institution, but at the time had something like if they were going to hire somebody outside of an outside entity or outside person, there was like a 2-week, the position had to be open for 2 weeks, and then there was going to be 2 weeks of a background check or a week of a background check. Well,
got to have a coach.
Yeah, have to have a coach, and the entire staff left with the guy. And so they're looking around the department, and I'm the only one with high school baseball experience. Nobody else even has played. And Joe Baker's like, hey, like, Peter, you want to do this? Like, you'd be really good at it. I'll make it worth your while. I'll come back to that in a second. And I said, shoot. So my son Ben's like 1, right? 1 year old. Yeah. So so I said, yeah, I'll do it. So, but there's like half of the season left. Like we had I think 26 games left or something like that, because it was right after spring break. So
that is kind of a common midpoint.
Yeah. So the guy that left took all the gear, everything, baseballs, bats, everything, cleaned it out, claimed it was his. I have no idea if it was his or not. No, doesn't matter at this point. So I basically had a blank check to go to Burgart's. Is it Burgart's? Down in Brookfield. It's a baseball store, right? And so I did it all, bought all the stuff that I thought we needed. And so I was going to buy a fungo, and the guy that was helping me get all this stuff, he's like, well, how good do you think you are? I was like, I'm pretty good. He's like, well, most college coaches get the wooden fungo. And I was like, I'm getting the wooden fungo. So I go to practice that day. It's like 2 whips at it, crack it right down the middle. Have to go back and admit that I suck at hitting fungos, and I have to go get the amateur metal fungo.
That's a tough look.
It's tough look. I had
to
eat crow.
I
had to eat crow. So go through the season, learn a lot. Like it was actually really good for me, because in football everything's so intense, right? And whether you have the 25-second clock, or it's a timeout, whatever it is, right? It's bang, bang, bang every minute. every 40 seconds something's happening, right? Well, in baseball, right, you can go an entire 9-inning game, 7-inning game, whatever it may be, right? And you might get one ball hit to you and have 3 at-bats.
Yeah.
So our starting quarterback, while I was at Carroll, was also our starting right fielder.
And you guys were in all this together.
All this together, right? And I can remember Tyler coming into the dugout at one point and being like, "Coach, you got to calm down. Like it's baseball. It's different. Like and not different in a bad way. I'm not knocking." He's like, "But you have to
can't approach it the
you
same
can't
way.
approach it the same way. You have to understand that like I might have 4 things to do in an entire game, right? Like, but if I'm backing up, if I'm moving on every pitch, if I'm getting where I need to go, like that was like eye opening to me, right? Like it's just it's different. There are different ways, no different than I played college basketball, right? Like you train differently, you prepare differently. It's a different intensity than football, and that was eye opening for me, and so that was good. We ended up, I think we went 13-13. Which was the first non-losing record for Carroll baseball and during my tenure, 13-13, first non-losing record in Carroll baseball.
Amazing
for like
what a blank check can do.
20 years or something like that, right? And now they're Coach Rear has done a great job. They do a good job. But yeah, so AD's like, I'm gonna make this thing worth your while.
Coming back to this, good.
And I was like, thanks, Coach, I got you. You know, and I get done with the season. So I've spent 2 months coaching this team, right, or a month and a half coaching this team. And for those of you who aren't familiar with like college baseball, like you are your field crew. So you're there 3 hours before game playing a doubleheader. It's a 10-hour day at a minimum, right?
Get the rakes out.
You're doing that Saturday and Sunday, right? So it's a lot. And he comes and hands me a check for $1,500. And I was like, worth my while, Joe. And I had to take it like all the way up the flag. He's like, well, this is just what I thought it was worth. I had to take it all the way up the flagpole. I had to talk to the dean of students, whoever was. No way. And ended up getting a better check. But like I was like, you think this is worth $1,500? Like,
you're like, I wonder what.
That's exactly right. Like So
and why he took all
took all the equipment, yeah. So Joe made it right. So I appreciate Joe making it right. But yeah, that was
awesome. That is hilarious. That is objectively hilarious.
Because I was still it was a young kid at that point, right? Like, and I just like, yeah, he's gonna make it worth it. This will be a fat check. This will be a nice little bonus. And nope.
You talk about the young part of your coaching career, whether it was Carroll, Iowa Wesleyan's, other spots. What were some of the unconventional things you did during that time, and maybe some of those things now in your current role that you might be refusing to delegate? I know a lot of guys, as they go through, they find a couple things they really attach themselves onto, and they, being a head coach, of course, you have to pick and choose what you delegate and what you get off of your plate. What are some of the things that you picked up early on that you feel that you want to be the most in control of leading this program? Yeah,
that's a great question, right? Like I'll always have my hand in the offense. We've got a great offense coordinator, but I'm always gonna have my hand in the offense. I'm going to call plays, right? Those are things that like I feel very strongly on and confident in. Knock on wood. I hope. But what I found as a head coach is my delegation skills are as good as the people that I surround myself with. And being able to lean on some of the people when we get a really good video guy in, right? And really just pulling myself away from that, because now I don't have to have any brainwaves going towards the video because I got a great video guy. Or we have a gap in the video guy. All right, now I've got to, I was a video guy growing up, right? So we're gonna cut my teeth. So now I've got to step into this a little bit more. Or travel, right? Like sometimes we have phenomenal student managers who really care about travel, and sometimes we that falls more on Coach Robinson or myself. Or so the delegation really is kind of based off of what the skill set is of the people that we have surrounding us. I wouldn't say that there's too many things that I really have sunk my teeth into and said this is absolutely gonna be my jam, right?
Yeah. I mean, which I think is probably a good trait and a good quality, because like you said, if you do trust the people around you, a lot of coaches say their most important thing to do is hire your staff.
Yes.
Get people around you that you can trust.
1,000
take on those tasks.
1,000%. And that's where we're at right now, where like this, we're going to have 400 plus kids at our mega camp tomorrow. And
I've showing up today.
Yes. Yeah. No kidding right there. That poor kid. But I've been able to ask Coach Mason Robinson to really take the lead on this, right? And I mean, I had my hand in it a little bit and asked questions and been, absolutely, I have to be, right? But definitely, it's great that you can delegate tasks like this, because when you first start as a head coach and you're trying to help grow your staff and everybody gets on the same page, it's a long year or two as you all feel each other out and learn each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? So that's for sure. I'll tell you, at Iowa Wesleyan, we didn't have a pot to piss in, right? Like we were the most underfunded program in college football, probably.
Almost with a 24-year-old head coach.
Yeah, almost with a 24-year-old head coach. So we're making wooden sleds.
Wow.
We're painting our field. We're mowing the grass. We're cleaning the bathrooms. You know what I mean? That those were the things that we had to do, and you learn a lot of things. You learn great lessons when you're not a great football team. You learn what to do, what not to do, how to keep people together, how to save some money, right? So those are all huge things that I was able to learn during my time at Iowa Wesleyan.
And now, as the head coach role, you get to be the big picture guy, the idea guy, and how do we take this program, elevate it, whether that's the on-field product, the recruiting, the social media, those all kinds of these buckets, if you will, and you get to contribute to all those buckets and have people that kind of manage them independently. The recruiting side is always going to be one that you have to constantly elevate, expand, and reinvent. The pontoon boat tours are one that it's not new anymore, of course, to you guys. That's something you've been doing. Tell me how that came to be for people who have no idea what I'm talking about, what that entails, and how you think that just adds to, like you say, having that experience and elevating the experience of those prospective student athletes and their families on campus.
So the biggest thing in recruiting is you got to find what separates you from the competition, right?
Absolutely.
And the people we recruit against all have big stadiums, right? Whether it's the NSIC, the GLVC, the GLIAC, the other WIAC teams, right? So the Division IIs and the high-end Division III teams that we're recruiting against all have big stadiums, all have nice weight rooms, all have a degree that you're going to be proud of, right? So what separates UW-Oshkosh? And for me, it's the people in this town and on this campus, and it's the community. And so what we try to do in all of our recruiting days is showcase something special about the greater Oshkosh community. So in the winter, you can't go out on the lake, right? Although we have taken people ice fishing before, and we have ripped snowmobiles in Titan Stadium with recruits. So but that's Oshkosh, right?
Video evidence.
We'll get you some pictures.
Please.
That's Oshkosh, right? In the winter, it's going to be ice fishing. It's going to be snowmobiles.
It's authentic.
And it's
also a very important part of the process.
Amen. The other thing we have, and I was telling you about this earlier, we have EAA, which is the largest air show in the entire world. And that's a week in July where the Whitman Airport here in Oshkosh becomes the busiest airport in the world. We grow from 70,000 people as a community to 900,000, right? Well, EAA also has a great air museum. And so during the winter months, we'll bring our guys to the museum and show them around this great air museum. It's got a great World War II display. So then when you get to the spring, right, we're going to be we showcase Fox River Brewery, which is one of the better spots in town to sit on the water and enjoy. And enjoy the day, right? And so we'll take them there. And then over the summer months, right, when it's warm, one of the greatest parts about Oshkosh in the Fox Valley is it's right on Lake Winnebago, the fourth largest freshwater lake in the contiguous United States. It's an unbelievable resort water town, and so what better way to show recruits what you have to do, what you can do, right? You take them out on the water. And so we go to Pioneer Point, which is a peninsula right on Lake Winnebago. It's got a nice tiki bar for the parents. We pull the pontoon up, and if people want to go for a little boat ride, we take them on a little boat ride.
It's a sunset cruise. What time of the day is this? A midday type deal?
It's kind of dependent on what time which one we do or what visit we do.
Big fish when comes on campus, that turns into a sunset.
That's
cruise.
Exactly right. There you go.
Know what I mean?
Yeah,
little extra layers there.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's different, and again, you're constantly trying to up the ante. You're constantly trying to find what separates you, and there's a lot of great places you can go to. You can get a degree from and play football at. I don't know there's too many places in the Midwest, in the country, where you can play a high level of football, get a great degree, and live a great lifestyle, the lifestyle that you want to live, because it's a great area to live.
I love it. And you always have to balance. You said, always having to elevate and up the ante and outdo yourself from the previous year, that class, whatever that visit looks like. You have to do all that while staying true to those values and things that you establish as a head coach and for your program. Have you seen anyone steal that idea yet and roll with that?
I haven't seen any pontoon boats. I haven't
either, for the record. I feel like I'm pretty tapped in.
Right.
I have not seen any pontoons about, and it feels like that's dropping the ball for some of these schools that I know that are on the water.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's a pretty big operation.
I believe it.
I'll tell you, we had this is a great story. So there's and J. Rob's back there rolling his eyes. He doesn't want to hear the story. But a couple years ago,
running the cameras today.
Yeah.
I'm assuming absolutely killing it. I'm hoping we got the record button. We're good. Nice. A lot of hey, talk about delegation. I hate delegating some of those things.
Yeah.
I trust. A lot of trust over there on those cameras right now.
It's J. Rob, man. He's going to take care of it. He's one in a million. So we tried to do something a little bit different with the pontoon. We're going to actually do like a pontoon tour, not just a ride. Okay. And so there are going to be a couple stops on the trip. And so there's a miscommunication with the boat captain, though. And so he dropped us off and then just thought he was done. And so he was gone. So we had to sell it like this was the plan the whole time. And we stalled, but like did a good job of it, right? Like did a little dog and pony show, got a couple of cars back to where we were at, and just said, all right, now we're just gonna now that was the boat tour. Now we're gonna take you on a little tour of town, and that was that. And I was like, and I'm just like, how did we not tell Gary we needed him for another 2 stops?
He just took off.
He just took off, and he's going. And I'm just like, oh no.
There's no. You don't flag him down.
No.
And nobody. I mean, they didn't know. Again,
nobody.
No wiser. Still probably had a great experience.
We ended up we had like 3 of our top recruits on that visit and got all 3. It was like like nobody knew any different.
More often.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time so much. I know you got baseball to coach tonight. Hopefully, I mean, this episode won't be out, so they won't know any of your signs.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good.
Which is a good thing. But moving forward with this Titan squad, what is the trajectory in the near and distant future for both you and this team? What excites you about where this program is heading, man?
Well, I talked a little bit about just why I think Oshkosh is a great spot to play football, get a degree, and go to school and just live your life. But I honestly believe that Division III football in the WEAC can be ran through Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I think we have that type of infrastructure. I think we have that type of talent. I think we have that type of support from our administration. And so long term, that's ultimately my goal. I want people to know that on August 12th or whenever they're reporting that there's a good shot if they want to make a run, they're going to have to go through the Titans. Short term, we really need to focus on every single game. And I know that sounds cliche, but it can't be about lacrosse or River Falls or a matchup with Stevens Point. It's 1,000% got to be about Linfield. We've got to stay in the moment. We've got to focus on the game at hand, because like I said before, 8 of our 10 opponents from this past year, or on the schedule this year, were ranked this past year, and the other 2 were undefeated going into conference play, right? So like, that's kind of crazy. So we can't get ahead of ourselves. If we take care of ourselves, if we focus on us, if we focus on the game at hand, we can win every game on our schedule. If we take our foot off the gas, if we start looking down the road, if we don't stay focused on getting incrementally better every single day, shoot, we could lose every single game. You know what I mean? It's that type of schedule. It's crazy to say out loud, right? But that's what it is. So I have a lot of faith in this program. I have a lot of faith in the guys that we have coming back and coming in, and I have a lot of faith in this coaching staff, and I'm really, really excited for 2026.
You're the man. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. This is awesome. I hope we get to do this lots more, man.
Could turn into the weekly. This is we get the burger logo on here. Then we'll be good to go, man.
Peace Garage Bar, best burgers in town.